watching Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerantz, and we are in Lansing, Michigan, the state capital. What a beautiful building you have. We are joined by the Speaker Pro Tem of the House of Representatives. His name is Tom Leonard, also chair of the Insurance Committee. I'd like to speak with you about automobile insurance and the concept of no fault. What exactly is no fault?
Yes, well, Michigan, first let me say this, auto no-fault reform has been one of our top priorities this term. Michigan has the highest auto insurance rates in the country. Two recent studies have pegged us at being the highest in the country, one at $1,900 per vehicle, the other at $2,500 per vehicle.
Why? Why is it so high?
Yes, well, we are the only state in the country that allows for an unlimited lifetime benefit. The next highest state is $250,000. So in Michigan, if you are injured, you have unlimited lifetime benefits for the rest of your life.
Well, let's talk about that because it is an interesting conversation. I mean, look, if someone is injured and they need lifetime care, if their insurance doesn't cover it, someone's going to cover it. It could be the state. It could be the federal government. So it's either Healthy Michigan or Medicare, Medicaid, Affordable Care Act. So given that, how do we play that into the calculation of reform?
Well, that is correct. I mean, if there was a cap in place and somebody were to go over to that cap, they would go on to their commercial health insurer, or they would go on to Medicaid or Medicare. But the problem we have right now is that a quarter of our drivers are driving around uninsured, half of them in Detroit. So the system is becoming unsustainable, and we need to get some reform in place to make it more affordable. Now, I will say this, the biggest issue for the cost is actually the fact that there's no cost containment in place. In Michigan, hospitals can charge 4 to 5 times more for an auto accident victim than if somebody's using their commercial health insurance company.
And let's talk about that because that has been an issue that has come to the fore. And the question is, could Michigan set up a scenario whereby if there's a medical claim, the insured will turn to their health insurer first as opposed to their auto insurer? And the reason I ask that is, look, health insurance, they're in the business of providing health care. They negotiate lower rates, whereas the auto insurance companies, that's really not their bailiwick. So can we look at that model?
Correct. That's one of the models we've looked at. We've looked at several models, but one of the big things that the auto insurance companies have asked is they said, just put us on a fair footing. We just want the ability to be able to negotiate rates and contracts. Auto insurance companies currently cannot do that.
Why?
Basically, if they get a bill, because the way the law is currently written, it says that the auto insurance company shall pay all reasonable charges. So what happens is you've got these hospitals that have these charge masters, and the rates are really high. A medical or a commercial health insurance company can come in, they can negotiate rates, and the auto insurance company cannot do that. So
you're saying under Michigan law today, there can be no pre-negotiation between an auto insurer and a hospital group?
If they do, it's very difficult. The law is not in their favor. The law currently, the Supreme Court has come down and basically said, hospital, if you charge it, the auto insurance company has to pay it. So let's take a scenario. You take a football injury, a young man that's on the football field, injures his shoulder. Let's take the same person, they're injured in an auto accident, okay? When they go to the hospital, the person, if they've got Blue Cross or they've got Health Alliance Plan, some type of commercial health insurance company, their x-ray is going to cost them $45, $60, their MRI $800, and their surgery is going to cost them $800. If they're injured in an auto accident, it's going to be 4 to 5 times that. So you're looking at going from $2,000 to $6,000, $8,000 if they're injured in an auto accident.
I mean, could this be the simplest fix of all? Just allow auto insurers, which often are the same companies that provide medical insurance, to do that pre-negotiation?
You would think that's the case, but the health industry, the hospitals, they have a very powerful, very strong lobby here in Lansing, and it gets very difficult to compete against that.
And let me ask you about that, because I'm sure you know the CEO of the Saginaw Covenant Group has said that this piece of proposed legislation, the most devastating piece of legislation I have ever seen. I mean, those are fighting words.
I would respectfully disagree. In fact, the way the legislation sits right now, Many of them were upset. They didn't want to have the negotiated rate. They said, we want something set in stone. So in the committee, we actually put something in stone with some cost containment, which would be 150% Medicare.
Right, I saw
That's
that.
actually higher than what a commercial health insurance company pays. So when they say this is devastating or this is going to be death to us, what they're saying is for you to tell us that an auto accident victim paying more, or actually higher than what a health insurance company pays, is death or devastating to us.
Do you know?
That's unacceptable.
Do you know if sister states, either around Michigan or otherwise, have this same formula whereby health insurers can pre-negotiate, but auto insurers cannot?
That I do not know for certain. What I can tell you is that when you cross the border, your rates go down significantly.
Right.
And that's an issue, and we've got to get some cost containment in place. And that's what I've tried to tell the medical industry, particularly the hospitals, is that if they continue to fight this, the system's going to become unsustainable, and it's no longer going to be there.
Another source of contention on this issue has to deal with healthcare advocacy and those groups that support the interest of family members that care for loved ones who need around-the-clock care.
Yep.
As you know, currently, a family member can obtain a fee for that because what they would argue is they can't go to work because this individual needs a 24-hour care. And those rates are not set as we speak today, or at least not set in stone as it relates to the auto side. You are looking at creating a scenario whereby there's a cap in per hour rate, as well as limiting the number of hours.
Well, the number of hours would not be limited under this legislation.
Okay.
Every person would still have 24/7 care if they need it. Where the family member would be limited is at $15 an hour. Now that may sound low. That is still $132,000 per year. Right now, we've got family members that are making anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000 to take care of their loved one. Again, we've got to get some cost containment in place. So we want to ensure that somebody has 24/7 care, but it's limited at $132,000 a year. Now, one thing I want to point out on this is the $15 an hour care is not limited to specialized treatment. So let's say somebody has had a catastrophic injury, and let's say they have to have a trach plate replaced twice a day.
Okay.
If they have to have a nurse come in and that's $75 an hour, that person will still qualify for the $75. If their family member's a nurse, they will qualify for the $75 an hour, but just not around the clock. This is a way to get some cost containment in place so that the system stays sustainable.
What are your friends on the Democratic side of the aisle saying?
At this point, they have taken a caucus position against the current bill. I'm working with members on both sides of the aisle. I'm really trying to bring a compromise to fruition here.
Right.
I've told everybody I'm willing to work with any party, any person, anytime, any place to solve one of Michigan's biggest problems, which I believe is our skyrocketing auto insurance
I want
rates.
to briefly ask you about the city of Detroit. They have been toying with creating a city-run auto insurance system because their rates are so inflated and there are so many uninsured drivers. What do you make of that model, allowing cities, if they have high uninsured rates for auto, to be able to literally start their own insurance entities?
Well, Detroit, and this is a crisis situation that we have right now. As I said, more than half of their drivers are driving around uninsured. And their rates are somewhere around $4,000 per vehicle. People simply can't afford it. And it's interesting, we've got a huge advocate on this issue with Mayor Mike Duggan, who is the former CEO of DMC. He understands about the disproportional rates that go on with hospitals.
But thematically, philosophically, what's your sense of a city-run auto insurance outfit?
Well, this bill, my understanding of the bill that's currently in the Senate, it wouldn't completely be city-run, but what it would do is it would offer an opportunity for the city to bid out to a private insurance company that could offer a rate or offer a policy that would have a $250,000 cap. And this is the mayor's way. Again, none of these plans are going to be perfect, but we've got to do something to bring these rates down. And what he's looking to do is get rates between $1,400 and $1,800 per premium so that people in the city can actually afford it.
He is Tom Leonard. I'm Brad Pomerantz. It's Charter Recreation.